Okay, so you're thinking about a career working with animals, right? Maybe you've always felt drawn to, like, I don't know, the compassion, the healing aspect of it, helping animals in need.
It's definitely a field that attracts people with a lot of heart.
It really does. But, and this is important, passion alone, that's not going to cut it in this field. Not even close.
It takes more than just loving animals.
100%.
Yeah. Mm.
So today we're going deep, really deep into the world of veterinary nursing. And trust me, to thrive in this career, you're going to need more than just love for those furry friends. We need a solid strategy. Luckily for us, we've got RoleCatcher's insights to steer us in the right direction. They're like the gurus of navigating the whole job search maze and getting your career on the right track. Especially, with how tricky things are these days.
It's true. The job market can be a jungle.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
So think of RoleCatcher as our co-pilots for this deep dive.
I'm all for a good co-pilot. What do they got for us?
Well, first things first, they break down exactly what a veterinary nurse does day to day. And let me tell you, it's way more involved than a lot of people realize.
More than just assisting the vet, you mean?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking providing crucial support during treatments, even surgeries, educating clients on how to care for their pets, diving into disease prevention, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, sounds like a seriously multifaceted role. You'd need some serious technical skills for that, and some strong people skills too, right?
You hit the nail on the head. RoleCatcher actually does a fantastic job of painting this really vivid picture of what the day-to-day looks like for a veterinary nurse. Imagine this, okay? 1 minute, you're assisting a vet during this super complex procedure. The next, you're carefully monitoring an animal's vitals after surgery, making sure everything's stable. Or maybe you're, taking the time to educate a first-time dog owner about, like, proper nutrition and exercise for their new pup.
It's about being adaptable, being that calm and reassuring presence, even when things get tough.
Precisely. And speaking of tough, RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat things either. They use some pretty powerful descriptions, really giving you a feel for the potential challenges you might face in this field.
So they keep it real.
They keep it real, which is so important. We're talking about working with injured animals, animals who are in distress, maybe even dealing with the emotional toll of those really difficult cases that, don't always have a happy ending. And let's not forget about navigating the often crazy busy environment of a clinic.
It's a good reality check for anyone considering this path. Because like you said, it's not all puppy cuddles and kitten playtime. It demands resilience, emotional intelligence, and I think most importantly, that genuine dedication to animal welfare no matter what.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So let's say you're ready. You're ready to roll up your sleeves and dive headfirst into this field. It's demanding, sure, but the rewards, there's nothing like it. So where do you even begin? Well, RoleCatcher breaks it down beautifully, kind of like climbing a ladder, yeah. And that first rung, the role of a veterinary assistant.
Makes sense. You got to start somewhere.
Exactly. So as a veterinary assistant, you're getting your foot in the door, right? You're providing support to the veterinary nurses, the vets, handling the animals, making sure the clinic's clean and organized. Basically, you're learning the ropes. You're getting that essential hands-on experience. You might even find yourself doing things like, I don't know, administering medication under supervision, which is pretty cool.
It's all about building that solid foundation and getting comfortable in that clinic environment, right?
Exactly. Now, let's take a step up that ladder, shall we? Let's talk about the veterinary nurse trainee. This is where things start to get really, really interesting.
More responsibility comes with that title, I imagine.
Oh, you bet. Veterinary nurse trainees, they're working directly with the more senior nurses. They're monitoring vital signs, prepping animals for surgery, and get this, they even assist during those procedures. It's hands-on learning at its finest.
Wow, talk about a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
But that's got to be where those real technical skills and surgical competence really start to come into play, right?
Right. It's like you're stepping out of the wings and onto center stage, you know what I mean? And the spotlight's on.
And the learning curve, it's definitely more like a learning roller coaster at this point.
100%. It's exhilarating. You're gaining that confidence, mastering these new skills, and you're really starting to see, okay, I am making a difference in the lives of these animals. And speaking of making a difference, can we just talk for a sec about how crucial continuous learning is in this field? I mean, it's huge.
It makes sense though, right? Veterinary medicine, it's constantly evolving. New discoveries are being made all the time.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher, they really hit home this point. They've got a whole section dedicated to knowledge and learning. And it emphasizes how vital it is to stay updated on the absolute latest advancements in the field. We're talking new surgical techniques, we're talking about emerging diseases that are popping up, even like changes in animal welfare legislation, stuff you gotta know.
It's not a career where you just learn everything in school and then you're good to go, is it?
No way. It's a constant evolution. I love that about it. And the cool thing is, there are so many ways to make sure you're staying current. RoleCatcher, they actually mentioned joining some of those professional organizations. Like, depending on where you are in the world, there's the BVNA, that's the British Veterinary Nursing Association. Or if you're here in the States, there's the AVMA, the American Veterinary Medical Association. These organizations, they offer continuing education courses, which is huge, conferences, and you even get access to this whole network of fellow vet professionals.
So it's like having a built-in support system and a constant source of up-to-date information.
Exactly. You're never alone. But of course, we can't forget the academic side of things either. RoleCatcher, they've got a section on academic pathways, and they basically lay out these different routes you can take to get those essential qualifications.
Well, let me guess. We're talking about degrees in veterinary nursing, animal science, probably things like veterinary technology.
Yes, yes, and yes. Oh, and they also mention a bunch of those, those science-heavy subjects like biology is huge, zoology, anatomy. Basically, if it's got to do with living creatures, it's fair game.
Okay, so a strong foundation in science and, of course, veterinary medicine. Those are non-negotiables for anyone who's serious about this career path.
Absolutely. But here's the thing, and I think this is so important. It's not just about what you learn from textbooks. I mean, those are important, but it's about merging that knowledge with actual real-world experience.
You've got to bridge that gap between the theoretical and the practical.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher, they're right there with us again. They stress how valuable internships are, or even like volunteering at animal shelters or veterinary clinics. Those experiences are pure gold.
It's where you really get to put all that knowledge into action. And trust me, those hands-on skills, employers, they ate that up.
It's true. Okay, so you've got that fire in your belly, that passion, you're building your skills, you're committed to constantly learning and growing in this field. Now comes the, well, it can be kind of daunting, but unavoidable part, the job interview.
The one hurdle everyone has to clear,
Right.
no matter how much you know or how passionate you are.
You said it. It's nerve-wracking. But you know what? Don't even sweat it, because guess who has our backs once again? RoleCatcher. They've got this unbelievable resource, this massive database of interview questions. I'm not even kidding. They've got over 120,000 of them. And get this, they're tailored to specific careers and skills. They've analyzed these questions to figure out exactly what employers are looking for in a veterinary nurse candidate.
So it's like having a cheat sheet for the interview process. That's brilliant.
Right. It takes out all the guesswork. They're not just throwing random questions your way either. These are the questions that matter, the ones that really showcase your passion, what experiences you've had, whether you're actually a good fit for the role, the whole shebang. Like, for instance, one question that jumped out at me, it was, what inspired you to pursue a career as a veterinary nurse?
Okay. It's a classic question for sure, but there's a reason it's a classic.
It gets to the core of who you are, why you do what you do.
Exactly. This is your moment to share your story. Like, why are you so passionate about animal welfare? Why this job? Why this field? It's about showing them this isn't just a paycheck for you. It's something much deeper than that.
You've got it. Now, another one that caught my eye, and this one's a bit more, intense, it was, how do you handle a difficult or aggressive animal?
Ooh, yeah, that one's getting down to business. It's about how you handle pressure. Can you stay cool, calm, collected when things get unpredictable?
100%. And I think it reminds us, too, that this job, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. There are tough days. You need resilience. You've got to be adaptable. And that deep well of empathy, you got to have it, especially when you're face to face with a scared or reactive animal.
It takes a special kind of person to do that, for sure.
It does. And speaking of challenging, you know how sometimes you have to have those tough conversations with pet owners?
Oh, absolutely. That's got to be one of the hardest parts of the job.
RoleCatcher, they highlighted this question. How do you handle a situation where a client is upset or, really emotional about their pet's condition?
It's the human element of veterinary medicine, and it's so important. It's not enough to just care for the animals. You've got to be there for their humans, too.
You've got to meet them where they're at. And sometimes that means having those incredibly difficult conversations with empathy and making sure they know you get it, you understand, offering comfort and support, especially when they need it most. And here's the best part. RoleCatcher. They don't just leave you hanging with these tough questions. I mean, they give you the questions, which is great, but then they give you expert-guided approaches to answer them and even sample answers, all within their platform. How cool is that?
That is seriously cool. It's like having a personal career coach right there in your back pocket, walking you through every step of the process.
Exactly. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here, haven't we? We've talked about the work itself, the challenges, the rewards, the incredible feeling of making a real difference. We talked about how crucial continuous learning is in this field, and we even got a little sneak peek at some of those make or break job interview questions.
It's a lot to take in, but it's eye-opening for sure. It really gives you this comprehensive picture of what a career as a veterinary nurse is all about.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. RoleCatcher, they've got even more juicy details and insights on their platform. Seriously, if this career path is calling your name, you need to check it out. They provide personalized guidance, interview prep, and you really get a sense of what it takes to not just survive, but thrive in this profession. And believe me, it is both rewarding and demanding, often at the same time.
It's about being prepared, being equipped with the right knowledge and tools, because when you have that passion, it can transform into this incredibly successful and fulfilling career.
So well said. So if you're ready to take the leap, just remember this, okay? You don't have to go it alone. RoleCatcher is there every step of the way.
And who knows? Maybe one day you'll be that senior veterinary nurse, the one everyone looks up to, the one who inspires the next generation of amazing animal healthcare heroes.
Now, how amazing would that be? That's what I'm talking about. You know, it makes you think. Remember those stages we talked about earlier? You start as a veterinary assistant, then you're a trainee, and you keep climbing that ladder until, bam, senior veterinary nurse. Each stage has its own set of, unique challenges and rewards. Luckily for us, RoleCatcher, they get into the nitty-gritty details so you know exactly what to expect at each level. Let's talk about that junior veterinary nurse position for a sec, shall we? I feel like that's when things really start to click, You've got some experience under your belt and you're ready for more.
You're really spreading your wings and taking on more responsibility.
Yeah, they're not micromanaged anymore, They've got more freedom to make decisions.
Right, like they're trusted to handle a wider range of tasks on their own.
Exactly. We're talking about administering medications, doing lab tests, like the real deal. And they're still assisting in surgery, but now they might even be supervising those veterinary assistants who are just starting out.
So they're stepping into those leadership roles, getting a taste of what it's like to manage others.
Exactly. Which is perfect because, speaking of leadership, that brings us to, the top of the mountain, the pinnacle, the senior veterinary nurse.
Ah, the conductor of the whole orchestra.
That's the one. They've put in the years, they've honed their skills, and now they're the go-to experts. They're overseeing the junior staff, assisting with those really complex procedures, and get this, they're the ones developing those disease prevention protocols. They're keeping everyone healthy.
Wow, so they really do have their finger on the pulse of everything happening in that clinic.
100%. They're mentors, they're leaders, and they're advocates, not just for the animals, but for the human clients, too.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing when you think about the journey, right? Starting with those entry-level tasks and then blossoming into this leadership role where you're literally shaping the future of animal care.
Talk about inspiring. It really shows you what dedication and passion can achieve in this field. Like we've been saying, it's more than just a job, it's a calling.
So well said. And speaking of callings, let's go back to those interview questions for a sec. RoleCatcher. They were all about showcasing your passion, your experience, remember? Well, they had this one question that really stuck with me. Describe a time you went above and beyond for an animal patient. What did you do, and what was the outcome?
The classic tell me about a time question. I feel like every interviewer has one of those up their sleeve.
Right. But there's a reason it's so popular. It's not just about listing off your accomplishments from your resume. It's about bringing those experiences to life. It's your chance to show them, not tell them, how you handle those tricky situations, your compassion, your dedication to going that extra mile for those animals.
It's those personal touches that make all the difference in an interview.
100%. It's about showing them, hey, I'm not just here for a job. I genuinely care about these animals.
It's about that deep down love for the work.
Exactly. So there you have it.
Yeah.
We did it. Our deep dive into the amazing world of veterinary nurses.
We covered a lot.
We really did. We talked about the ins and outs of the job, the importance of always learning and growing, those rewarding but sometimes tough moments. We even tackled those job interview questions that always seem to trip people up. But remember, guys, this is just a taste of what RoleCatcher has to offer. If you're serious about this career path, and it sounds like you are, do yourself a favor and check out their platform. They've got personalized guidance, interview prep that's out of this world, and you'll really get a feel for what it takes to not just survive, but thrive as a veterinary
And
nurse.
you'll be prepared, you'll have the knowledge, the tools, and the confidence to turn that passion into a truly amazing career.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to all of you future veterinary nurses out there, remember, you've got this. And if you ever need a helping hand, you know where to find it. RoleCatcher is there for you every step of the way.
To happy animals and fulfilling careers.
Here's to that. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey, everyone.